Hey, back for another review for Worldless, a game that just came out recently. I talked about this one as well in my indies that I'm excited for in November, and I really appreciate the devs at No Name Studios for providing me with a review key for this one. Worldless is a visually stunning game, and just when I thought I had the combat and exploration down, this game surprised me time and again. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let's get into it. Worldless is set in a newborn universe based on entities trapped in an eternal conflict by the polarizing nature of their attractions. These interactions can result in an exchange of their polarities, but this process is very unstable, and who knows what new results can come from it. Along the way, you will encounter different beings that aim to stop you as you seek to find your place in this universe. Using turn-based rules, fights combine traditional combat with active time actions for thrilling and strategic combat where your knowledge of game mechanics and skills will be put to the test. When I first saw this game, I thought it was going to be more of a Metroidvania, and while I think there is an argument to be made, I would not classify Worldless in this category. Sure, there's exploration, backtracking, and a measure of ability gating, but what sets this game apart is the turn-based combat. You start off as a light-based entity with a sword and a shield and the ability to cast lightning. When it is your turn to attack, a tarn bar, which is pretty similar to an ATB bar, will show up. And after your attack phase, your enemy will attack with either physical or magic-based attacks. Your character can defend by hitting either the physical or magic button to block the incoming damage from the vertical or horizontal plane with your shield. If timed right, you'll take virtually no damage. This exchange kind of turns into a rhythm game as each enemy attacks are different, so paying attention to each enemy is key to victory. Pretty early on in the game, you will get the ability to absorb enemies after filling up a gauge and selecting the right button. This will give your character nodes of circles and diamonds that will allow you to upgrade your abilities, be more damage, or the ability to guard break. Upgrading is crucial as enemies will pretty quickly get tough as you explore various areas. Your character can explore by jumping, dashing, and running through these beautifully crafted worlds. The movement abilities are obtained by using your sonar to absorb previously fallen entities that have fallen during this seemingly eternal battle between light and dark. There are also some chips to find throughout these maps to increase your health in order to survive more in combat. If you've seen the trailers for this game, you know that you won't just be playing as your light character as well. You will later have the option to switch between light and dark. This will open up maps even further and increase your ability count exponentially. The dark entity has its own physical, magic, and defensive abilities. Enemies will adjust to this new change as well, so make sure you wrap your head around swapping mid-battle between the two. This combat gets truly more complex the more you play it. Because of the lack of voice acting, all the storytelling in this game is represented in its visual design. And like I said, there is a seemingly endless battle of dark and light taking place in the background as you explore, and the universe cracks around you as you discover that you are a bit of an anomaly of this world, with the two forces coming together. The only real context that you are given is with this taller, slender character that has bits of text when going on between maps in this sort of pseudo limbo space. I'd rather not have this text at all and just keep it entirely wordless and not just worldless, but it's interesting to see this character get progressively more anxious as the story progresses. I'm a big fan of this type of storytelling, but to do it right, the game has to look good and to have good music that elevates what is happening. Thankfully, like Cocoon, Worldless has this in spades. It's really cool to see life growing around you when you walk on the ground. And even though the player characters are like stick figures, they get more full-bodied when doing more energy-conducting tasks like running or a big attack. There's some great ethereal sounds when exploring, and the music ramps up in combat. Animations in combat are incredible, especially when using stronger attacks. The combat is, what I said, complex, and while I do like a good challenge, it was tough to remember a lot of the inputs. Attacking, defending, swapping, jumping, running, and dashing are fun, but having to do a lot of them in conjunction does require some fast reaction times. Otherwise, you are in for a rude awakening. Most enemies felt like a mini boss fight that you have to try multiple times to beat. There are enemies that don't even have a life bar, so absorption is the only way to beat them. There were a few times that I explored another area to see if I was in the wrong place, only to be met with the harsh reality of figuring out that that enemy I was struggling against was between me and actual story progress. The early game felt too difficult at times, but I will say this did teach me to slow down and concentrate on guard times and exploit weaknesses when appropriate. Shortcuts do open up, but there is a fair amount of backtracking. Even with the ease of the minimap, you will need to pay attention to where you are in each world to get to the next story beat. Perhaps there could be more accessibility features to help tone down the scale of these encounters. However, in this limbo space, there is a training section where you can test your reactions and formulate strategies with the abilities that you have gathered and upgraded. Although this came out later in the year, I think that Worldless should be in your gaming library. If you liked the visual storytelling of Cocoon but need more action, this game is perfect for you. The beautiful ambiance mixed with the fast-paced and electrifying combat makes this game stand out, and the ending of this game had my jaw dropped and I was incredibly satisfied. If the combat is not your speed, try out the demo on Steam to get a feel for it before you decide to buy it. And did you play Worldless, or will you try it after watching this review? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more indie game reviews, LPs, and more. My name is Chike, and I will see you next time. Bye.